do you have a process for, removing the functions of the day and what you were doing last week and what's going on, and in order to get more access to this? I'm going to think of it now more as a receiver inside of you, right? Almost like tuning a radio, and then it comes in, like the beginning of like a Strummer Clash thing, right? You love the radio, Joe loved the radio, right? And then it comes in clear, and there it is. How do you clear the static? What are some of the operational steps that you think might be more generalizable to, regardless of where somebody in Africa's listening to this now?
I would say when I engage in a particular project, whatever it is, I dedicate all of myself for that period of time, whatever it is, whether it be 20 minutes or whether it be 5 hours, whatever it is. Total focus and no outside distraction whatsoever. And when I leave that process, I do my best not to think about it when I'm away from it. I don't bring any materials with me. I don't leave the studio with works in progress and spend time listening to them during the day or looking for ideas. I stay as far away from it when I'm not directly engaging in it as possible. And in the best of situations, I have something else to totally engage myself in between. So instead of working on project A for 5 hours and then leaving and doing nothing, I'm hoping to engage in a project B or B, C, and D with all of myself before going back to project A again, which might be the next day, let's say.
So this relates to an amazing chapter and series of writings in your book that I'm not going to describe because I want people to find it for themselves, about disengaging from the process. One question I had as I read that chapter, and as you're saying this now, is even though you're disengaged, do you believe that your subconscious is working it through?
I believe so. And I think in general, to stew over a problem is not the way to solve a problem. I think to hold the problems lightly. And when I say a problem, when we're starting a project, there's usually this feeling of, there's a question mark at the beginning of every project. I'm always anxious when I start a new project because I have no idea what's going to happen. I never know. I may have, in some cases, a potential backup plan if nothing works. But I really try not even to have that. I prefer not to have that. I prefer to go in, maybe to calm myself down enough to be able to show up. There'll be an idea of like, okay, if nothing works, maybe we could try something like this. But that would only be for my own anxiety. It wouldn't be for actual practical use. But there's always a sense of anxiety because I know whatever's going to happen is completely out of my control. Something either interesting or not will appear. And then we're going to follow that wherever it goes. And until something appears for us to follow, I have a lot of anxiety. Even though it has never not come, it has come every time, but there's something about it because I also feel like there might be expectation on me that I'm going to make it happen. And I know that's not happening. That's not how it works. I show up ready for it to happen and am open to whatever we have to do to find that first thread. And once we find the thread, then it's like, okay, we have that thread may lead us to anything, could lead us to in a million different directions. But something about having that glimmer that it's not we're not looking at a blank page. We're looking at, okay, we have the beginnings of, I would say a map, but it's a map that we don't know where it takes us. And it's just the beginning. It's just a start, you are here. If you have a map and it says you are here, even if you can't see the directions, knowing where we are feels okay. And once we get, and usually, again, usually in the first day, first couple of days, it happens. But up until then, it's really an anxiety-producing situation.